That's a good joint right there.
Thank you.
Peace and love to all the kings and queens. You are watching, tuning in. We are beaming live at Cafe Urzuli in Brooklyn. This is the Make Jazz Trill Again podcast. I am your host, Melanie Charles.
And I'm your co-host, Yunie Mojica, a.k.a. YunieMo.
Yeah. And DJ Oochild was bringing the vibes.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
This is going to be going live on all podcast platforms in November, around when that single will officially drop for the people. But y'all was lucky. Y'all got the preview tonight.
Y'all heard it first. Y'all are first. Oh my God.
I just want to really welcome you into the force that is Miss Satar'ra Troutman. Okay? An incredible musician, vocalist, songwriter, producer, spiritual leader, healer, okay? We met a few years ago in LA, yeah. We were both like fresh out of college, I think.
And you were so cool. I was like, oh my God, she's so cool. I need to know her.
And you were so sweet and so like demure and like shy and like helpful and bright-eyed, and to see you now as this like lioness, hear me roar, with this single and all of the beautiful work that you've been doing, it really is refreshing. So make some noise for Satar'ra Troutman.
Thank you all so much, and thank you Melon, thank you Yunie, and thank you DJ Oochild. I'm so excited to be here with y'all.
So, how's it been? You're in New York now. You got in, I think, 2 days ago, and you're promoting the single. How has it been for you?
It's been so good. Every time I'm in New York, it's very magical. Like, this city is very special to me. I mean, I know it's special for so many artists, but for me, it has so many good memories. Like, from being a little girl in this city, very magical for me, watching other artists, watching really, really great shows. And so I feel like every time I'm here, I have a good time, but especially with this single, because it's one that really resonates with me very deeply. It's been very nice because I feel even the faces that I see in New York and the people that have shown up for me are people that have been with me on this journey of growth and creation so long. So it's been really beautiful. It's been really healing, and I can't wait to be back and back and back and back with y'all here in New York.
This. New York loves you. Yunie and I are both jazz girls. We went to jazz school.
Yes. And we know that you went to jazz school.
And did. And did, yes.
And I would just love to know what that experience was like for you, because I think that a lot of us who did the school path, although we may have been brought up in a musical family, and I definitely want to talk about your family and the lineage that you come from, but like it's very easy to get sucked into that institutional way of thinking and moving, and then when you try to actually like be an artist, sometimes you have to unlearn some of the shit that you learned in school. I'm curious what your process has been.
Absolutely, all of that. I'm super grateful. I went to Berkeley and I loved it. I loved my time in so many ways. I see so many of my like classmates here, so shout out to everybody who went to school with me and showed up for me. I love y'all. But yes, everything that you're talking about is really real. I feel like it was culture shock from me. I grew up in Atlanta. I grew up in a musical family. I'm from Ohio, but I grew up in Atlanta. So I grew up in the studio, and I grew up with artists who are making art really for the love of the art. And I wasn't being gatekept from in any way. I can say that. Like regardless of gender, regardless of race, regardless of any of that, I grew up in kind of a bubble where all of the musicians around me were very generous with me. I've been playing since I was a little girl. So when I wanted to play bass, no one was like, oh, you can't do that. She's a girl. What are you doing? No one was like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Why are you playing chords? No one was like, she's singing and playing? That's crazy. And then I got to Berkeley, and there were all these expectations outside and inside about how I was supposed to be creating. And as a bass player, there's always that push and pull of like, am I a side woman or am I an artist? And bass is an instrument where I think it's very easy to settle into seeing yourself as a side woman. And I was running into a lot of resistance in the world because I would go do shows and I would go do tours with people. I would do things while I was in college. And it took a lot of mentors and elders to be like, Satar'ra, you're not a side woman. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you need to work through. I don't know what feelings you got in your gut, but you're not a side woman, so you need to take your time and figure out how you're going to turn this into your career and centering yourself. So it was definitely like a living and learning process. Of course, we had all of the isms that you find at institutions everywhere. Nowhere is perfect. So I dealt with that as a woman, and as a black woman in any type of space, you definitely deal with people in situations where you don't feel you're being held in a certain way. But in a lot of ways, it's a microcosm for what we walk into in the world, just hyper focused, if that makes sense. Everyone is there. Everyone good is there. Everyone bad is there. Everything is in one bubble. So it's definitely been, since graduating, like an unlearning and a relearning of myself. I wouldn't trade it, because I have so many people in my life now that I didn't have before. I have so many skills that I've learned from playing different types of music, whether that's jazz, whether that's Latin, whether that's soul, whether that's R&B, any of those things. But it was definitely taking all of that with me, and then still having the courage to go home and go back into my world, post that and go, who are you and what do you want to say? And to feel good in that, and to feel that it was valid. And to feel, I mean, I know y'all know jazz school, to feel like I don't need to be the most chopsy bass player, baby. I have feel, and no shade to chops.
That's right.
Because I will shed. And when you see me up, like, don't say nothing to me. However, real, you know, when you see me up there with the bebop, don't say nothing to me. I'm gonna be 75. I might be 75 before I'm swinging, but we're gonna be swinging that thing.
Amen.
It just wasn't at Berkeley, and it wasn't at Berkeley, and that was hard for me. You know, I'm with all these like bass players. They're players. And I think being around other bass players where it's like, oh, that's your one and only love. Like where they say, my one true love is the bass. My one true love is being an artist, and my one true love is being a songwriter. Bass is the medium through which I can articulate that best. But it took me a while to sit in that artist seat and go, you don't have to follow the rules. Who cares if you're the best bass player? Who cares? Does it feel good, and does it sound good? And there's that imposter syndrome, because now I'm looking at people who can't play at all, and I'm like, you was confident though.
Right.
I need that.
It's interesting because Yunie and I, we just did a residency at Skidmore 2 weeks ago, and so we were talking to students in the same place of where you're talking about in that time, and it's interesting because I always thought that Berkeley was the school that produced artists. Like in the industry,
Yes,
it seems like
that was
all the
that
like dope
standard.
people are like Berkeley people.
And that Berkeley was one of the schools that was more open to genre collaboration.
Yes.
It was the most collaborative program from at least the seats that we stood from looking in. So to hear that perspective that also existed in Berkeley is so interesting.
It's interesting. I guess there's like levels to this, and it really, no one can tell you what it is that your art needs to feel like and sound like. It really is your personal journey. I keep saying lately that I wish that in my education process that they told me that being a good musician wasn't enough.
Honey, somebody say that.
You know, because they were focusing on being in the practice room and doing your scales.
Yeah.
And that's important. You need to have that language and that freedom. But at the end of the day, what's going to get people listening to your music is your truth and your honesty. And I feel like you've managed to like figure that out in your art, especially the way that you're infusing your spiritual practice. And I really want to talk about that, for you to talk about this. Are you open to talk a bit about the work that you do?
Everywhere in my life, we're talking about it. Yes, I don't mind. It's a part of who I am. So yes, the spirituality piece came back into my music, which I'm grateful for. So I'm a priestess and I'm a conjure practitioner. So conjure is Black American spiritual practice. If you got a granny, you got an auntie, you got a big daddy, you got a cousin, you got a uncle, somebody really from the South who understands the way that Black American people have preserved the African roots of their spiritual systems, you will find conjure. You'll find low country conjure, Mississippi conjure. It's regional, right? So I come from many different regions and lineages in the South, and that was always something that was a part of my upbringing, seeing, understanding, and engaging with spirit in a particular way. I never thought that it was going to be a part of my professional work at all. It wasn't my intention. A lot of people who know me from undergrad, no one was surprised. I thought everyone was going to be like, what? And no one was surprised. They were like, they're looking at me now like, girl, we were not surprised.
When I met you in LA, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
But maybe it was also the space that we were in. We were in like a studio, and it was a little dry, so maybe I didn't get to connect in that way with you. But once you like unleashed, I was like, oh, word.
God. And it's so funny to hear that perspective, because I always make the joke, like at Berklee and just in general in the music industry, I was in the broom closet. We've all been in closets of all sorts, but I was certainly in the like spiritual girly closet. I am not somebody that wanted to be known for being so spiritual or being so psychic. No shade to the love and light girlies. I love you. We need you. But I didn't feel like anybody's spiritual leader or healer or priestess. And now I'm an initiated priestess. I did not think that was going to be my journey. So when you met me, I think I was trying very hard not to be. Woo! There we go. Hold on. I'm just going to hold it like this. Okay. We want to switch? Okay. I think I tried very hard not to be perceived that way. I tried very, very hard not to be seen in that regard, because I honestly thought it was going to be a hindrance to me. I grew up in Atlanta. Atlanta is the Bible Belt. And there are many musicians that I love and respect and that I wanted to work with who I knew wouldn't necessarily, or I assumed, and some of those assumptions were correct and some of them were wrong. Because at the end of the day, you'd be surprised how far good music and being a good person will take you. It bridges a lot of cultural gaps.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to talk about it. And it was something that, whether you call it your spirits, whether it's your ancestors, it was pushed into the forefront. And now I'm grateful because the music that I'm making is a culmination of all of those things. It's a culmination of who I am as a woman, who I am as a priestess, who I am as a child of my ancestors and the lineage that I come from, as a black woman, as a child of the blues, as a student of the blues, because I think what I really got from jazz more than anything is a love and a respect for Black American music and what we preserved and what we do. Because there's something about what we have done when you listen to Coco Taylor. I'm going to talk about women because that's my heart,
yes,
right?
Please do.
Yes,
but when you talk about Big Mama Thornton, when you talk about, the Coco Taylors, even, Betty Carter is my jazz girl of life. We can Betty Carter all day. Okay? Yes. We can Betty Carter all day, but there's something to be said for knowing and understanding not just the sounds of the blues, but if you don't know conjure, you don't know hoodoo, you don't know the religion, you don't know the practice, you're missing a lot of the spirit of the blues. Like, I got my mojo working, but it just won't work on you. It's not just a song. It's a testimony. It's an observation. I've got my mojo working, but it's not working on you. I'm going to go down to the crossroads and do X, Y, Z. Those are real conversations. And I think for me, especially as an artist, I needed to understand who I am, where I was coming from, and how I fit in that space, and see it in a modern context. Because we don't always see a conversation about the legacy or the lineage of the blues, because y'all can quote me, but I feel like it's really living with Future Hendrix. If you want to know what's happening with the blues, you've got to listen to some trap music.
That's
and they don't want to talk about that. Facts. So, the spirituality is in the music, and I'm grateful to be a student of the spirituality because it's given me more, like you said, the focus that you see and the clarity that you see. I don't think I could have arrived to it as the girl that you met, because I think the girl that you met, big Libra placements, wanted everybody to like her and wanted everybody to be okay in her presence and didn't want to be somebody that shook anybody up. People would meet me and they would go, good or bad? Sometimes they go, wow, I love her. Oh my God, I don't even know, but you're just... And then sometimes they go, because they don't know what that is or they don't know how to handle that. And I was not grown enough. I did not have on my grown lady girdle to be prepared for,
Shout out to grown lady girdle, that's right.
To be prepared for that.
Yeah.
So.
Another thing that I got from connecting with you at that time was I got to feel the feeling of women looking out for other women. Because not too soon after I met you, I believe how the story goes is that you told India Irie about me.
I did.
And she was doing a series.
I didn't even know you knew that.
She told me.
I didn't know you knew that.
So India was doing this like spotlight on artists. And I think I was one of the first or two people.
I didn't know she knew that.
Wow.
I didn't know she knew I told India.
And she like found, to me, I thought she just found me out of the blue, and she shared my music, and she was just like, these are artists that I want to spotlight because they're amazing. And I was like, how did you find out about me? And she was like, Satarra. And that meant like, that has stayed with me. It's been like at least 4 or 5 years, but like in my spirit, in my heart, in my mind, I'm like, Satarra's a real one. She be looking out, and I'm so grateful to share space with women like that. Yunie is someone that's been someone like that to me in my life.
Love you, Mel.
I love you, Yunie.
Love you too.
So, I mean, I would love, I'm not interviewing you, Yunie, but also like I would love to like us to talk about like what women looking out for each other, what has that meant for us in our journey, because it's so important.
It is so important. We have to, I feel like everything that you just said about, you basically outlined the story of how you found who you are and bringing that to your music. And there's so much honesty in that. And that's what we all look for in music because it's so relatable. So I really just want to honor that moment right there because it's scary. Mm-hmm. It's terrifying.
It's scary.
And then when you have women, other women that in what you're saying, where we need the women in our community to rally around and uplift each other, and finding that is so important because being an artist brings that honesty. It's terrifying, and you know, as Erykah Badu says, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
Amen.
Right?
That's why we're sensitive about our shit.
Yeah.
But having people like yourself, Satarra, and Melanie, where you guys are all very honest, that honesty attracts honesty, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. I think also this industry is such a male-dominated industry, like, and I hate to be gendered and try to separate the things, but there's just certain things that you just can't escape. There's just certain realities.
Being a woman,
you know, there's, you know, it's challenging, but also we bring certain things into whatever projects that we're working on that's really valuable.
Yes.
And when we can come together, it's great. But a lot of times, girls, especially black and brown girls, sometimes we don't be clicking, and we be enemies instead of friends.
Which is not it's not helpful. I mean,
it's not.
We've experienced it ourselves in different cases where people might reveal themselves as being where you thought they may be a friend, or you know, they may show their hand in another way that's surprising in itself, and that's heartbreaking too.
Yes, it is. First of all, I'm so grateful for you. I did not know that India told you that. I was not anticipating her telling you that.
How do you even know her? Like, what's the backstory of that?
Okay, so shout out, if y'all watch this podcast, to my family. So my godmother who's also my cousin, Satar'ra Troutman, is very influential in music. She's in culture in general. She's super dope. Raised me, and she had a lot of artists coming out of Atlanta. She went to Spelman, and she was running a small label at the time. So I was born in Ohio, and my mother was a single mom, and we moved to Atlanta because she wanted to be more around community. And it was the early 2000s, and you could make a lot of money doing black hair in Atlanta. My mother was making good money doing hair and doing beauty and working.
So that's why your hair is laid.
Yes.
Period.
Because she was a hustler and she did hair and makeup and everything. So I got to be backstage at so many shows, primarily India's, because India was working very closely with the NASA. So the first person who put a bass in my hand, who also co-produced this record with me, shout out to Kari Simmons, a phenomenal bass player, a wonderful man, and just a phenomenal person. I saw him playing bass for India in a rehearsal as a little girl.
Wow.
And India is so influential for me, not necessarily because we make the same type of music, because it was the first time in my life that I saw a black woman on the stage owning her space and telling her stories and being supported by people in such a way that made it tangible and touchable for me. And so when I talk about those spaces, especially in my early youth, where I feel there wasn't a lot of gatekeeping, India herself, but everyone around her and everybody that helped mobilize, the musicians, the guitar players, the engineers, the people that other people may have just overlooked, were influential pieces of my growth. So I've known her since I was tiny, like since I was a tiny tot. I want to say I played her guitar when I was like 5. Like the people in India, shout out to Anthony David, shout out to Donnie. If you haven't heard the record, The Colored Section, like these are the people in my collective community, right? My collective family that raised me and shaped me into the artist that I am now. So that group of people have always been an influential part of my story, and they show me a lot about what musicianship is. Whether it's fame, whether it's stages, whether it's lights, that's one thing. But to be around people who have a love for the music, and that was really the spirit that I shared your music with, right? Like I met you and you were so dope. Okay, Mel was so cool. She was performing. We were fresh out of school. I think you were just like maybe a year older than me. So I think I was still in school or about to graduate. And she was just so cool, and she was singing, she was playing flute, and she was pressing the things with the MPC, and I was like, this is the baddest bitch ever. And it was a music technology event. I was teaching Ableton to girls. I was working with Aaron Barrow, who runs Beats by Girls, and we were going into different cities and setting up Ableton programs so that girls could have access to production in music technology. And you were the performer. And again, in music tech, we don't always see a lot of black women. Like we said, we talk about gendered things, but especially in the space of production, and especially in the place of technology and wanting to engage with the technology. People act like that's not something that women want to do, and especially black women. So when I saw you doing your thing, it was almost like another mini moment of that when I saw India. Like there are women I look to and I see them doing something that inspires me, and whether they're my peers or they're older than me, that's how it was. I was like, this girl is super dope and she's super honest. Like she's doing her thing. She's doing her thing her way. And so it just resonated with me. It wasn't some type of like contrived thing. I think we were having a conversation talking about music, and I was like, you should check out this girl. But I'm always sharing your music. What? I play it in the car. I play it at the house. Like, I'm always sharing it. So
I appreciate you so much for that. And, at that time, I was couch surfing. I was doing my LA thing, and I was like, I'm going to make it big in LA. I was like busking on Hollywood Boulevard with my guitar. I didn't even tell you about this era.
Never told me about
I know. I was busking with my little
I
guitar.
I would have put some tips in there.
What? You know what? One day when I was
that.
What year was that?
Oh God. Okay.
What is time?
Right. I graduated Berkeley 2017 from Valencia. So let's say 2015.
Okay, and I was busking like 24, like before, like leading up to that.
Okay, so I want to say I met you 2014, 2015, because I was still in undergrad. Like I was a student working. So I was working. Erin was one of my professors, and then she reached out to me and said, would you like to come help set up these programs? Because she saw I had a love for Ableton and I had a love for working with girls.
Shout out to Erin.
Shout out to her for that.
Dope.
Because the work that she's doing is very dope.
It is.
And so I was setting up those programs working with girls, so that had to be 2014, 2015.
And I was busking on Hollywood Boulevard, and so I had like 3 songs though, because I'm not that good on guitar, y'all. I can't do all the instruments, child, but I could do enough chords for my 3 songs. And when you busking, like people are walking by, so like that's it. That's the repertoire. That's the set. 3 songs.
Not 3.
So I used to do Amy Winehouse, Lauryn Hill covers, and then an original. And I had stacked up like $50. Like it was cute. And in my mind, I was like, oh, let it stack up so people could see that it's a worth it investment. Everyone else is putting money. Let me put money. Big mistake. Homeless man ran up, grabbed my money, ran off. Y'all, I cried. I was so hurt. Oh my God. So now I learned people don't need to see the investment. They don't need to know the chat.
Right. They don't need to know.
They need to know how much money you got. I should have been putting in my pocket each time. So that was a little story of my busking. So all the while, so even more of why meeting you that day just felt like a really safe space. And I want to shout out India right now because she recently shared how she's been going through some spiritual, like, I don't know if it's spiritual. It might just be just like the strain of this industry.
Honey.
I don't know if you've noticed her
post.
I haven't, but I'm going to check because I'm not surprised. Like you say, the industry is very taxing.
Yeah.
You know, it's very taxing. So definitely sending her love and hoping that she is like lifted up.
We love you, India. If you watch this,
we love you. We
appreciate you. We thank you.
You are loved. You are appreciated.
And you brought us together even more. So thank you. Thank you.
We love you.
We love
it's
you.
It's funny
so
you
much.
bring up the industry in general. There's so much going on right now that is.
Oh, baby.
I feel like we should talk a little bit about
Let's talk
that.
about it, Yunie.
I mean, a lot of executives have stepped down. You know, a lot of stuff with Diddy and a lot of things getting aired out, and then technology on top of that.
Yeah.
Where might you stand in these changes? Do you see opportunity as an independent artist, or do you see? I don't know. What do you think?
Yes.
Yes.
I think yes. I definitely see opportunity. It's taken me a while, like I think a lot of artists, to come to that strength and that perspective. I think that a lot of my journey was not waiting on people to give me permission. Like, again, I think we're having a lot of conversation around womanhood and being a woman. I think that's the nature of the people we've got on stage. But regardless of your gender, regardless of how you identify, there's something to be said for living in a culture and in a world that tells you you must wait for this gatekeeper or that person to say you're on. And then once they say you're on, that's when you put your foot on the gas. Yeah. And I had to make an intentional decision that whether or not other people recognized me, I was going to put my foot on that gas in a particular way. That's my first piece as an independent artist, is like not waiting for someone to see you or validate you, because a lot of those people are late. The other thing I will say is, in my journey, like I said, I went to Berkeley and there were years, I won't say years that I was not making music, because I've always been making music and I'm grateful for that. However, there were years, especially whether it be my spiritual work, whether it be what happened with the pandemic, where other areas of my life took center stage, and I had a lot of questions, whether that be spiritually, and a lot of sadness, like, well, why not me? Why not now? Why am I not in those rooms? Why am I not here, right? When I'm working hard, like you say, being a good artist is not enough. Being the best is not enough. Practicing very hard is not enough. And really being young, like when you say you met me and I was very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, because I love music. I cannot say that I have grown to have stamina for business. And I have grown to have a sharpness in business, and I'm grateful for that, because that came with maturity. But I love, and my heart is with the music. And it took me a long time with the things that we're seeing revealed today to realize that a lot of the people that wanted to engage with me, or who I thought wanted to engage with me, did not want to engage with me for the music. And that it was probably better. I look now at opportunities that were offered to me that I missed, or opportunities that I thought I missed out on. And I'm like, oh my God, what a protection. Ooh, what a covering.
Wow, yes.
I had a conversation with some people in this room. I have close friends in this room. And we had the conversation, like, when all of the things came out with all of the lawsuits, with Diddy, with everybody. And I called my friend and I said, bitch, did we miss anything for real? We were on the phone crying to each other like, we want to get the records done. We don't have no money. We in LA. We in New York. Where's the money? I just want to make my music. I and you watch everybody that you thought you needed to get permission from be moved. Everyone has been moved out the way.
Everything is not what it seems.
Come on, somebody. And as a priestess, as a spiritualist, it was wisdom my ancestors were giving me and guidance and direction they were giving me long before I could recognize or appreciate the path. Because there's a way to be an artist, and there's also a way to be an artist with your mind, your soul, your body, and your spirit intact. And as a woman and as a black woman, I hate that it's this way, but that is sometimes a longer journey.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a covering that has to be.
Yes, and I'm grateful now. I'm grateful for the wait. And I would not have said that 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was on my friend's phone like, I just don't understand. I'm tired of reading cards for the people they don't want to heal. I want to make a record. These people don't want healing. Like these people. You know, so, but you go, everything has a season. Everything has a reason. And with the stuff that's come out now, I'm very clear. Like, girl, you need to be in the house.
I love how lazy with the process, because you've had access to a lot of things that you could have used clout to get to where you are as an artist. I didn't want to mention this, but Zap and Roger, what is their relationship to you?
Shout out Troutman gang. It's a lot of us, okay? Shout out to my family all over the world.
Period.
But that is my family. So Roger is my grandfather's first cousin, but my grandfather was a rowdy boy in New York. Shout out Co-op City. So my granddaddy is from here, and he was a wild boy. So he was outside at 14 doing everything that he should not have done. So they sent him to go be with his family in Ohio. So my lineage is from Ohio. My granddaddy is one of the many Troutman boys that is from New York, but he moved in with his family very young. And so I was always raised with them as like grand uncles. Obviously Roger and Larry died when I was very young, but all of them are a part of my family. And the music is such a influential piece of my life. I mean, we have family reunions. Zap still plays. I'm a Troutman by name and by birth. And so funk music and soul music, and I think outside of Zap, and always love for my family, but people underestimate the music that was coming out of Ohio. When you think about Ohio players, you think about Heat Wave, you think about even moving into the Midwest, you think about, Roger was working with Mint Condition. That's what people don't understand about Roger's career, because growing up with my family, there would be a lot of conversation around, ooh, she reminds me so much of Roger, and he died very young. So I didn't know what that meant, because I don't play talk box. You won't see me with the
Remember, I was trying to tell you should do it. Come on, please do it.
It's too much spit. It's too much spit.
Do it.
I don't like all of that spitting. The little tube. I much respect.
Just one time.
But I will wear the shiny suits and the shoulder pads, though. Okay.
Period.
Those suits are in my size. Like little plaid suit. Because the looks ate.
Yeah, they ate.
But the talk box wasn't my bag, right? But the more that I spent time thinking about Roger as a producer, Roger as an instrumentalist, what a tremendous ancestor to have as a musician and as an instrumentalist and as a producer. He had a love for the music. And speaking to your piece about clout, yeah, but I'm not fake enough to play that game. Sometimes I put my foot in my mouth. I've done it many times in this industry. I've done it many times in this industry where, it's not even worth trying to move into a space off clout for me, because often when you're in those spaces, people are not in integrity. And on being very naive and, again, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I've grown. I know now to just hush, girl. Hush her mouth. But young me was like, what are y'all doing? That's not how we do this. Yeah. Why are you talking to her like that? What are you doing? Right? So even if I was in those spaces, don't think that I was acting right in those spaces, okay?
I mean, what
definition of acting right?
Well, right, that's what I'm saying.
Right. I think, let's be real. I was acting right for me.
Right.
But I was not acting in the way that one would be able to parlay clout into a career.
I mean, it's hard. We've had interactions leading up to
today. We won't drop any names, but we bonded on the realization that not everyone operates in the right way in this industry. And sometimes you got to be a little fake or shy or play small to put other people in comfort so that you can get to the place that you want to get. And that's another reason why I appreciate Yunie, because Yunie has been on the business side for so many years.
A long time.
So Yunie knows how to navigate the PayPal that maybe don't act
still a
right.
mystery sometimes. Because I'm constantly in spaces where I'm like, or I'll be like, I might say, like, in your case, I might say something in a naive way because I've never been in that space before. Yeah. And might feel weird or awkward, or I might not know how to show up. But sometimes it's like I was talking to my brother the other day. Everybody's weird.
Shout out
Some
to
people
AF.
AF. Yes.
Some people just show it.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to show their weirdness.
But I feel like it's like when I say a naive way, it's more of like, it's naive to not know that people may not necessarily do things in the right way.
Yes.
Because the reality is, like how we said, we all went to jazz school, so we're thinking like things are going to be, this is how things are supposed to be.
I mean, jazz school doesn't prepare you for the business at all.
No.
Like, that's the other thing that we constantly talk about is not being prepared for just life.
Yeah.
And in general.
And knowing how to finesse things.
Yeah, because I did not learn that from school.
Right.
I learned that from finessers. Shout out to being from Atlanta. I learned that from real hustlers, real outside people who were like, and from other, street smart.
Yeah.
And other musicians. Like, again, on the conversation that we had earlier this week, like, Mel has kept me just this week from calling people and lighting them a fire, lighting them up. I was on Melanie's phone like, look, now I'm having this conversation with you because I probably shouldn't have it with anyone else. So what would you do?
And that's me to Yunie.
Come on, when you think about it, the music industry was built on crooks to begin with. So
let's get into it.
Yeah,
Hustlers.
the mafia.
Code that you gotta understand.
And hustlers.
And
so, also, yes.
That's where the root and the stem is.
Yeah, it's facts.
Yeah, and school does not prepare you for that. They do prepare you to do, I mean, what I will say about Berkeley, I thought what you said, and it's accurate, where you said Berkeley, out of all of the music schools, is the space that makes the most artists. That is accurate, and I will give them their flowers for that. I do think that even in that expression of creativity and being able to express yourself in a certain way and being so resourced, they did not necessarily prepare us for how people act.
Right.
That, I don't know
teach that. How do you grade
that?
No.
You can put them in the best studios. You can say, yes, you can record. Yes, we've got all your friends. Yes, we've got all the instruments. You want to be on the Neumann? Sure. You want to touch the $150,000 board? As long as you took the class? Yes. They don't prepare you for what happens when you go out of those systems. And now people are looking at you like, I don't trust you to touch that board. What do you know about that board? You want to record with me? You're not prepared for that.
Not prepared for that. I want to shift to our Trill Trivia. We're going to put you on the spot in a few minutes, okay?
Oh my God, I didn't know this was going to happen.
We do Trill Trivia every time.
We do Trill Trivia every time. But before we go to Trill Trivia, I just want to talk a little bit about what it's like being a musician playing with people in the industry. So, backstory, our mutual friend, Raynell Frazier, is a great trombonist. And we did an industry gig. We played with...
Jesse Smollett.
Yes, a few years ago, before he did the thing. Before the thing.
He did it
Okay.
Right
Right before. Oh my
God.
God. A week later.
Yeah. And then like a few weeks before that, I did SNL with SZN. Okay.
Yeah.
And like, but playing with people in those kinds of settings is a very specific thing. And I noticed that you've done a few of those like pop industry gigs. Can you talk a little bit about what happens to the artist when they go into a space where they're supporting someone else's thing? Like, what is that like for you? I'm curious. I want to know the tea.
Oh Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let me tell you, it's where I learned I wasn't a sideman.
Ooh.
And I wanted to be, and it wasn't a realization that came to me because, not to toot my own horn, but like I said, I love music. There are so many records that I have written for other artists. There are so many records that I've played on. The people who know me as a musician know that if I could give that to people from my heart, and I had all the time in the world, if I was like the infinite divine mother and I had 150 arms and I could play every instrument and I could be up 24 hours, I would. I have no problem being a sideman. I learned from the way that people responded to me and the space and the conversations that were had. I won't name the artist, but I played with the artist.
I so want the people to know the artist, though.
I mean, which one?
I guess his name will choose one.
Adam? Yeah, he was great. So Adam's wonderful. Like
Adam who?
Adam Lambert. Okay, so Adam Lambert is phenomenal. A fantastic singer. He sounds like the record. Like, just on musician things, I'm going to say that first.
Okay.
That is somebody who, when you hear them in rehearsal, sounds like the record.
That's
Dope.
He replaced Freddie Mercury in Queen, which is no easy task. To like, who's touching Freddie Mercury? So we have to always give him his respect for that. And on spiritual things, you want to watch somebody bring their life into fruition. I want to say when he auditioned for American Idol, he sang a Queen song. And now he is on tour as the front man of Queen.
Wow.
So just watching somebody live and fulfill their destiny as an artist is amazing, along with all the records that he's done. So I played with Adam. It was phenomenal. It's very nuanced. There are so many other people besides the artists making those decisions. And I think that when you're independent, you have that level of control. You also have the labor. It's no easy task to be independent. And even if you're independent and you run a team, and even if you're signed, you know, you're always trading assistance for control. You know, you're trading, I need this help. I need you to do this job.
Yeah.
But also, I may no longer be able to be in the place where I get to control every way that someone is engaged with, every conversation that is had, who gets hired, who gets fired, who gets paid what.
Yeah, you have to release power a lot.
Yeah. But when I was playing with Adam, we did American Idol, Good Morning America, a bunch of press slots. And we did 2 music videos. So if y'all want to see me look cute and play bass in like a frilly outfit, I'm in the music video for Coming In Hot.
I love that.
Yeah, and it was the perfect record for me to play like bass for that, because it's very funk inspired. It was very my vibes, very Prince. I'm a Prince girl from now to.
I had a feeling you were Prince.
That I love Prince? Oh, I'm a Prince girl. Honey, down, deep cuts. Okay, that's my love of my life. What, forever. Oh, the purple one. But yeah, it was very good. I also learned that I wasn't a sideman. There was a time that we were on set, and I remember, and again, on not being naive. I'm not a clout machine. I wish I was. I probably would be in a very different place if I was able to see how people see me. Because now looking back, I'm like, y'all saw me and y'all saw dollar signs, check, check, bling, bling. Y'all said that girl is that girl. But I was like, oh my God, I'm here.
Yes.
Oh my God, the sun is shining.
Wow. Yes.
And I have my bass in my hand. Like, I was not thinking about dollar bills. But there was a time that I was on set and there were so many industry people. And the comment was, she looks so good on camera. She looks so good. Everything she does.
Too good.
Come on. And so there are several gigs that I've played with artists, not just Adam, but several gigs that I've played where you go, oh, I'm not a sideman. I have made it to the final round of audition. You know, shout out Berkeley. We're always doing audition for artists, and oftentimes labels, when they want players, will call all of the music schools, especially Berkeley, and go, we're going to hold a private audition.
We didn't have that at New School, child.
Hey,
I wish.
Child. It's okay, because we had it, but it wasn't for me. It was for random white men in black T-shirts.
Ooh.
It was for white men in black shirts and black pants. That's who the
music MIB.
It was for white men in black
shirts.
and black shirts and black pants. That's who got the gig, and they could play.
Right.
I'm never gonna, because I'm with some of the best players in the world, so it's not about that. But there was a time in undergrad where I made it to the final round of one of these like very industry auditions, and then they picked a white dude in black shirt and black pants. And it was maybe like the fourth time that this had happened to me. Like I made it all the way to the last little section. There were just maybe 2-3 bass players, and then they're like, "Oh, we're sorry, but we decided to go with this person." And I just knew I was giving the performance of my life, which is like, "Duh, girl, you shouldn't have been.
You was doing
You
too
should have
much.
wore black pants, black shirt."
Oh, suddenly it makes sense.
Now it makes sense. But if you're an artist, you don't think like that. That was part of my problem. I can admit that now, looking back at the gigs I did. I look at some of the outfits I picked. I look at some of the fits I put on, and I said, "You were never going to be anybody's sequence girl, pink, fuchsia, fluorescent."
You just brought me back to, I remember we had a big band concert and everyone was wearing black and I chose to wear a pink blazer.
You see what I'm saying?
I was like, what? That was not the assignment.
At all.
That was the artist in you, just like
Yes.
screaming out.
Jumping out. And so I made it to the final round of that audition, and I didn't get it. And I could not hold my tongue anymore. So I sent an email, and you know me, I'm CC, everybody. I'm the chair of the department, everybody who I saw, who I knew in there. I'm putting you on this email. And it was a very respectful email, but I was like, "Hi, I'm wondering if y'all have any feedback for me, because I really feel I did my best.
It's great.
And I would love to know if there's any critique, any feedback, anything that you can offer me. Like, I respect your decision greatly, but what could I have done differently?" And like I said, sometimes you gotta know, I make this joke, and I'm like, if you're a leopard, you can't pretend that you're a minnow or a fish. You have to know you have claws. And at the time, I did not recognize that. So a lot of people, and the people are gaslighters. So when you stand up for yourself, I didn't realize how many grown people were gonna be afraid of me. Grown people did not want to have that conversation with me, because even though the conversation was respectful, they knew it wasn't just, and they knew the decision that was made wasn't fair.
Yeah.
It wasn't based off musicality. It wasn't based off of who gave the best show. It was based off politics. And there was only one person who was honest enough to say that to me, and I won't name her here because she gave me some information that I think she wouldn't want to be named. But she was a professor who was running that audition, and she was the only person who took me to lunch. A woman. She was not a black woman, a white woman. But shout out to women in the music industry for being real, because she taught at Berkeley. She was notoriously tough on songwriters and on artists. She was notoriously like a hard ass. And she took me to lunch, and she said, "Satarra, I'm going to be real with you. I'm the one who made the decision, because that is my artist." She said, "And you were more interesting to watch on stage than my artist." And that will always be a liability.
Whoa.
She was the person who sat with me and said, "You are an artist. And I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you need. I don't know if people aren't supporting you. But you are not going to be successful if you try to be a sideman. People are always going to tell you you're too much. They're always going to tell you no."
Yeah.
And it's not because you're not good enough. It's because when I get on that stage and I put my artist, and no shade to the artist, but this was 2012, 2013, so they wanted like another Lorde. So she was a white girl. It was very moody. It was very dark synth pop. She wasn't giving us a lot in terms of stage performance. It just wasn't my world. So I immediately got what she was saying, which is like a white dude in black shirt, black pants.
Was more fitting for the situation.
Yes, and that there were going to be so many opportunities that did not fit me because of what was required for the role, which is that you play your instrument and you look a certain way, and that way does not capture a lot of attention. And even outside of music, I'm not that person. I'm the person who, when I'm walking down the street, people go, "I love your shoes."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hi," and I go, "Hi."
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not the person that blends into the background. And so I had to redefine my version of success. if that
Thank you
makes
for
sense.
sharing
Wow,
that
that-
perspective. And for anyone that's listening, hopefully that inspires you to know that just because you're not chosen for a certain thing doesn't mean that you're not that girl, you're not that dude. It just means that you are not the right fit for that situation. And
Yes.
there's bigger and better for you. So hopefully we walk away with that. But I think, Yunie, I think we're ready for some trill trivia.
question is, which jazz vocalist was not known for being both an actress and a vocalist? Was it A, Eartha Kitt, B, Abby Lincoln, C, Dee Dee Bridgewater, or D, Sarah Vaughan?
Oh, hell. And y'all got the jazz questions for me. This is a trap. Okay. I did not pay attention in jazz school. I didn't.
They don't teach these in jazz.
They don't teach this.
My questions are always
Jazz.
deep cuts. So
Okay, what are my options?
It's okay.
A,
Eartha Kitt.
that's wrong. That's not right.
Okay.
She's an actress. Okay, next.
B, Abby Lincoln.
She's such a bad bitch, but I don't know. Is she acting? Okay, give me my other options.
Okay. C, Dee Dee Bridgewater.
Dee Dee's great. I don't know if she acted either. God, don't be mad, Dee Dee, but I don't think so.
Or D, Sarah Vaughan. It's a hard.
This is hard.
That's
Okay,
fine.
I'm gonna go with Dee Dee. Am I wrong? She acted, right? I'm sorry,
Broadway.
Dee
Dee
Dee.
Dee did Broadway.
Oh
Dee Dee-
shit,
Dee Dee
we're
was in the
counting
Wiz.
Broadway.
She was in the
Wiz.
Wiz.
We're counting
She was in
Broadway.
the Wiz.
I'm thinking movies. So we're okay.
I'm
we're
gonna give you
counting
another
Broadway.
chance. I'm gonna
Okay,
give you
so
another
no.
chance.
If we're
'Cause I'll
counting
give
Broadway,
you the backgrounds on all
okay,
of them.
Sarah Vaughan. No.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm like, if we're counting Broadway, then
Yes.
Okay.
So Abby Lincoln was in
Yes.
Mo Better Blues.
Yes.
Eartha Kitt, I mean, she was Catwoman
Yeah.
in Batman. And yeah, and Dee Dee Bridgewater was in The Wiz.
Okay.
That's a good one, Yunie. I like that
Honey.
question.
That was fun. Okay, number 2. Question number 2. What are the names of the 4 women in Nina Simone's song 4 Women?
Peaches, Sarah, Saffronia. Oh, my name is. Who's my name? What is it? Aunt something? No,
That was Sarah.
that's
was Aunt
Sarah because she Aunt Sarah. So we have. My name is.
It's the first one.
That's why I can't. You're like, my name is. Oh, God. Sarah, Peaches, Saffronia. God, what is that? Right there. I don't know what is it.
Damn, Yunie, there's no multiple choices for this one?
No, there's not. Oh my, I'm gonna be so mad if I don't say it.
The lyrical challenge. I know.
My name hair is on. Dang.
Everybody's pulling out. People pulling out their
Yeah,
phones.
because they want to know. They want to know. Sarah, Saffronia, Peaches. Sweet thing. Yes. Period.
Yes.
Sweet thing was the baddie.
Yes.
Sweet thing was doing that thing.
Yes.
I should have remembered her because I arranged that at Berkeley. I did. So I really should know that because I was not, you know what I mean, it was the era of all of the things Black Lives Matter and they still matter, but it was that conversation. And so I had a conversation with the administration and we produced like, I want to say 5 videos that were specifically featuring Black artists and musicians from the college.
Love that.
And that was one of them. And I played bass. And so I heard that song so many times, I really should know it.
That's a potent song. Good one,
Honey.
Yunie. Come on.
That was a good
Kill
question.
trivia.
Taking me back.
So that was my jazz trivia.
Yeah, that was
There's
good.
one more.
One more. Wait, that was our third one? Third
That was
question?
the second one.
Okay, so far, 10 points. 5 points each. So that's 10 points. Okay?
Do I get a prize?
Yes, you do. I don't know what it is, but yeah, you get a prize.
Is it your love and affection?
Oh, you already got that.
Okay.
Okay. Which guitar player was sampled in the Q-Tip song "Let's Ride"? Just to jog your memory.
Do I have choices?
Yes, the choices are A. Joe Pass, B. Grant Green, C. Wes Montgomery, or D. Pat Metheny.
And we don't have the record to play either, because I just got to go off. Do, 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 do. Come on. me a hint. Yes, I'll take a hint.
This guitar player had a duo album with Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh, is it Joe? Ding, 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 ding. But that's why I wanted to hear the record, because as soon as I heard it, I said it's Joe. The tone is Joe. Like, it's Joe Pass. So yes.
You win Trill Trivia.
She's a winner.
This has been such a beautiful conversation. If you're listening to this now, Japanese whiskey was probably just released.
Pre-save. Okay, so I'm dropping it on November 1st. And I don't know how much time we have, but can we play it again? Because there's people who haven't heard it who are here.
Yeah.
So I want to hear it.
Let's do our sign off, and then we listen.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So Satar'ra, thank you so much. Like, this was really fun for me.
I had so much fun. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you for everyone who's here in the studio.
Thank you, everyone.
We did it.
Thank y'all for coming.
Yes.
Shout out to our Trill listeners.
Yes.
Shout out to DJ Oochild.
Yes. Yunie, you want to set up our sign off? Yeah, thank you, Cafe Urzuli.
Yes. So we have a sign out
Okay.
that all of our guests participate in. And it goes, we say, whatever you do, and you say, remember to.
Okay.
And then we collectively say, make jazz trill again.
And y'all got to say it too.
Period.
You got it?
Yeah.
Whatever you do,
Remember to